Hello, beloved soul friends. Welcome to another Conversations with Kristin, that fun-filled part of your day where you explore human consciousness from the inside out. So, I kind of want to explore a really cool topic with you guys. Where does our consciousness go and why does it matter? So, we're just going to explore this for a little bit here. Where does our consciousness go and why does it matter? So, we've got two aspects that we're experiencing life through. We have our neurophysiology, which is our brain-body wiring, which is filled with infinite miracles. But it's wiring. It's not who we are. It's not our identity. It's based on experience. And we are not our experiences. And experience determines the wiring of the brain and body we experience life through and we live inside. But who we are is something separate from that. So we've got our neurophysiology, the wiring of our brain-body system. Then we have our consciousness. Our consciousness is the energy of life housed inside of this brain-body system, okay? So, out of breath. I get too excited. I get too excited about this, you guys. So our consciousness is the energetic life force housed inside of our neurophysiology, right? Where does our consciousness go and why does it matter? So when our consciousness is fully here, we are pure presence. And this is the most profound, divine, dynamic, satisfying experience imaginable. The present moment is literally all that exists. There's no stories, there's no stress, there's no projections, there's no worries, there's no cares. It's just a present moment experience. That's it. There's no past, there's no future, there's just here and now. Some might even call it a flow state. And if you're interested in learning more about flow states, you can totally check out Jason Silva's content. He's got some really rad YouTube videos. But flow state, being in a flow state, everything in the brain and body are regulated. You're just fully present, fully absorbed in the present moment experience. Your consciousness is in pure presence. And so that's kind of the ideal state of mental health and happiness and personal power embodiment is pure presence. That's the objective, okay? But what happens when we're not experiencing that, okay? What happens is our consciousness blends with our neurophysiology. And so what's happening is our neurophysiology is wired through experience. And experience is stored in our brain and body through a bunch of different ways. So we've got all this data from experience, right? And then it's stored in the way our nervous system regulates. It's stored in our attachment systems. It's stored in 4 different kinds of memory systems. We have 4 different types of memories inside of us. And they touch in different parts of the brain and things like that. Like the most unconscious memories, for example, are going to be in the hindbrain, like the brainstem and thalamus and the cerebellum and the back parts that we don't really know about. They help us do all sorts of stuff, but we don't directly know about it. And then more explicit memories are going to be a little bit closer to our forebrain that allow us to have more conscious access to it, etc. So we've got these memory systems, we've got these attachment systems, we've got these belief systems, we've got the way our brain waves regulate, we've got the way our nervous system regulates, we've got all these miracles inside of us, and all of them are based in wiring from experience. So experience is housed inside of our brain and body in a whole bunch of ways, okay? And so what happens is our brain and our body will take a little energetic piece of this data and project it into our consciousness. If our consciousness is experiencing the projected piece of data, then it won't be fully present. So let's say you have I need my hands for this. I gotta play. I gotta have room to play. I gotta have room to play, y'all. I gotta have room to play. So let's say you've got this consciousness, right? Hello, I am a whole consciousness. I am the entirety of a consciousness. Okay, you've got this whole consciousness. Let's say this little bitty piece over here is busy blending with an aspect of experience being projected in neurophysiology. And in case I lost you, let me just sum that up. So you've got this whole consciousness. A little piece of it is over here in a memory that's being projected. So imagine like a projector screen, and you've got like this projector thing, and you've got this little like videotape reel or whatever it is you're projecting, and you put it through this machine, and then poof, it creates an image on a wall or a screen or something, okay? The brain is kind of like that. It takes these memory systems and it casts this image on the wall of our mind. And then a part of our consciousness is over there watching that movie rather than being right here in the movie of the present experience. And you guys can let me know if this makes sense. I know it's some pretty complex stuff, but I want to make it as understandable as possible while still making space for the complexity that it truly is. So we've got this whole consciousness, but then oftentimes a part of the consciousness will be over here watching a movie being projected through a projector screen as our, analogy thing, which is our memory systems projecting a piece of data from the past into the present moment experience. Why does our brain do that? What's up with that? Is this thing on? Why does our brain do that? Our brain does that because it's like, hey, yo, I love you and I want you to survive super mega ultra good. Like, I want you to survive like the super champion that you are. I want you to survive like the super mega radical awesome person that you are, because you deserve the best survival possible. You deserve it. I got you. So our brain always has our best interest in mind. Our brain is always for us. Our brain and our body are never trying to work against us. That's never the intention. Our brain and our body are always trying to fight for us. They're like, I got you. I'm in this for the long haul, babe. I'm trying to do what I think is best for you. So our brain is fighting for us. And memories, neuroscientists have discovered, memories are not about storing information from the past. It's all about navigating present experience and future potentials. So if I'm here having a present moment experience, but I see a dog running across the yard, my memory systems might project a past experience about when a dog ran across a yard and then attacked a person, and then the person screamed and got hurt. And so I'm sitting here in my present moment experience, la da da da, it's a beautiful day, nature's great. And then I see this dog running, and then my memory is projected. I might experience sensations of fear, worry, panic, anxiety, etc. as I watch this dog run across the yard, not because of what's presently happening, but because of the past memory being projected into my experience. And so my consciousness is here, but not all of it's watching the dog run across this yard right here and now. A part of my consciousness is watching a dog run across a yard from 5 years ago or whenever it was. And because a part of my consciousness is somewhere else that's not here, it's affecting the entire experience. If I was pure presence watching a dog run across the yard, I might say, it's a dog running across the yard. I wouldn't be formulating conclusions or projecting what to potentially expect. I wouldn't be experiencing fear or worry or panic or anxiety inside of me. That is not a present experience, okay? So we've got this whole magnificent consciousness, but a lot of times not all of it is right here, right now. Why? Because the brain's projecting these memories, trying to fight for our best interest, and a part of our consciousness is over there watching that movie reel instead of watching the presently unfolding movie of life. Okay? Does that kind of make sense? Maybe? With me? Comment below and let me know if this is making sense and what you think about these magics, because man, I never knew these magics a few years ago, and now I'm like, ooh, wow, that makes sense. It really helps to have these insights about the human experience. And so we've got this whole consciousness. Where does it go? Why does it matter? That was our starting play prompt, okay? So a little play prompt, a little questionnaire to get the juices flowing, right? Where is consciousness and why does it matter? Consciousness is often not here. And that's where a lot of pain and suffering can come from. And so a lot of mental health struggles, whether it's a diagnosis of depression or anxiety or traumatic stress or, whatever it might be, or it's not a diagnosis and it's just a battle that you're experiencing without any kind of diagnosis. It doesn't matter. It doesn't really matter. They're all just different ways of describing the same thing. And a lot of it is because consciousness is not present. Consciousness is somewhere else. Consciousness is experiencing something that's not actually right here, right now. And so, where does consciousness go and why does it matter? The other example that I had is if you're moving through, I'll give more of a perfect example. If I'm moving through a life experience and I'm like, oh, this is a lovely day. And then I have this idea of, oh, I wish I could go to the amusement park and ride a roller coaster. If I agree with that thought, a part of my consciousness goes there. And so instead of being fully present, enjoying the walk or whatever it is I'm doing, a part of my consciousness is trying to be at an amusement park riding a roller coaster. But that's not a present experience. And so I lose part of my power because I'm not fully here and now. And then what'll happen is instead of being in full satisfaction of the moment, I'm going to keep thinking, man, if only I was at an amusement park. Man, I just really want to go to an amusement park. Man, I just really wish I was riding a roller coaster right now. And instead of being fully absorbed in the power of the present moment and just fully embracing life for what it naturally is in the immediacy of things, a part of my consciousness is somewhere trying to ride a roller coaster that doesn't actually exist. And so when we have a thought and we agree with it, or we get inside of that, that little thought train, it's like, train, wait for me, I want to take a ride. If we do that, a part of our consciousness is, bye-bye, going on a trip, instead of being fully present. And presence is like the number one of the 10 attributes of personal power, which is a concept I've created from scratch because awesome. Part of my spazzy excitedness. So spazzy excitedness. Yeah, that describes me pretty good. Pretty well. So where does our consciousness go and why does it matter? When our consciousness is not fully present, we do not have access to our power. And our power is to manually decide the manner in which our brain operates or experiences present tense activations and undergoes continued rewiring. There is no greater power in the entire freaking world than the ability to rewire the brain that you live in by choice, with intentionality. Because if you do that, you can transform any belief system, any automated reaction, any habit, any perception, any unpleasant emotions, any health battles in like 1 to 3 years. Like if you have the ability to rewire your brain, you can transform any aspect about the way you experience life in just a couple years. That's the power of rewiring your brain. And this includes everything. If you have difficulty concentrating, if you experience short-term memory loss, if you experience long-term memory loss, if you experience anxiety, depression, OCD, trauma, traumatic stress, dissociation, flashbacks, insomnia, night terrors, general lack of energy, general dysregulation of energy, general angst, intrusive thoughts, racing thoughts, brainwave dysregulation, nervous system dysregulation, self-loathing, self-harm, self-abuse, addiction, just general laziness or being a workaholic. Literally any part of life experience that does not give you complete satisfaction can be transformed by rewiring your brain because all of experience is being processed through our brain. And so when we're like, oh man, I'm just not enough, that's coming from an aspect of our brain wiring. If we're like, oh man, my thoughts are super racing and I can't even focus or concentrate, that's coming from our brain wiring. All the stuff of our experience is coming from our brain wiring. External stuff is just stimulus. That's not where experience directly comes from. Okay? Had to burst your bubble. The reality is that experience comes from inside of us. And so the reality of how our consciousness is operating and how our brain and body are wired matters more than anything else. Anything. So choose your pursuit of happiness and make your healing journey matter because it matters. So we have full power when our consciousness is present. When our consciousness is going somewhere else, we don't have our full power. And so that's why it matters to know where consciousness is going and how to bring it back. And so the two main examples are when we have a thought and we agree with it and we go down that rabbit trail. For example, I wish I was riding a roller coaster right now. A part of my consciousness is going to be off scheming about how to make this dream happen or just straight up imagining it happening or remembering a time where it happened. But a part of my consciousness will be somewhere else instead of right here, right now with me. And then the other way it happens a lot is through memory projections, which can happen with any form of stimulus. because memories are always helping us navigate our world. How do you know who you are, where you are, or what you're doing right now? It's because of your memory systems. You wouldn't know that you're watching a video on a screen if you didn't have memory systems. You wouldn't know what you did yesterday. Maybe you don't know what you did yesterday, but approximately what you've been experiencing vaguely, right? Some vague recollection at least. Hopefully, maybe not necessarily. I used to not know either, but here I am and I know, so that's good. It's all allowed. It's all part of the journey. But your experience to understand anything about yourself, how you know how to use a toothbrush. Like, what is this stick thing? And it's got these like bristle things. Like, what do you do with it? Do I put it in my eye? Do I put it in my ear? Is it something that I use as a hat? Like, how do you know what things are? Yeah, you're totally allowed to use a toothbrush as a hat. It's the new trend. So how do you know what things are, what they're for, how to use them, what their purpose is, etc.? It's all from memory systems. You look at a toothbrush and you automatically have a general sense of what it is, when you're supposed to use it, what its purpose is, because of your memory systems, okay? But when a projection's happening, a lot of times a part of our consciousness will go over there. And if the projection is from the past, which it always is, then a part of us is reliving a past time instead of being right here, right now with the present experience, okay? So parts of our consciousness can go to these other aspects of experience, and that's where we lose our power. We can experience a whole lot of unpleasant sensations. But when we can bring our consciousness fully into the power of the present moment, we have all this power at our fingertips. All this power to breathe deeply, to be satisfied, to live in love, to be unconditionally enough, to rewire our brain so that we can experience greater peace, joy, and fulfillment than ever before. We've got all this power to be fully satisfied in the here and now and rewire our brain so that the days keep getting better. That's what power is. And we have power when our consciousness is fully present, but sometimes it's not because it's somewhere else. So what we gotta do is go get all these different parts of our consciousness and bring them back to the present moment. That's really, in summary, from one of infinite perspectives, the healing journey objective. It's to rescue all your parts from moments that are not right here, right now, and bring them back to the power of the now. So, if you would like help on your healing journey to reclaim your power and lovingly befriend the miraculous consciousness that carries you and rescue all these parts of yourself so that you are pure presence with infinite power at your fingertips. Fingertips, baby! Shoot me an email. I would be honored to connect with you through a consciousness consulting call. I would love to chat with you and dive deep into your healing journey so that you can have all the insights, clarity, and loving empowerment you need to fully embrace the wonders of your healing journey. I'm here to help, and I would be honored to connect with you. Email me anytime. If you have questions or if you want to schedule your call or anything at all, you can email me at artistryofexistence@gmail.com. And if you want to comment below and let me know your thoughts on this topic, I'd love to hear from you. Do you notice that your consciousness drifting off to places that are not in the present moment? And how much does it matter for you to bring them and welcome all these parts back to the power of the now? What action steps are you taking to get there? Feel free to share in the comments below. I love you and I believe in you, and I thank you for being here, soul friends. Thank you so much for joining me with Kristin. Oh, wrong side. Kristin's Consciousness Consultancy for another Conversations with Kristin. It's an honor to connect with you, and I will see you next time, beloved soul friends. Namaste.